It was a sight that left spectators in awe and military analysts wide-eyed with respect. Massive U.S. Air Force B-1B Lancer bombers, nicknamed the Bone, flying in synchronized formation at terrifyingly low altitudes over challenging terrain, a masterclass in precision, speed, and American military dominance. These beasts of skies are not just marvels of aerospace engineering. They are flying fortresses capable of unleashing devastating payloads deep within enemy territory, and when flown at nap-of-the-earth altitudes, they become almost invisible to radar, slipping beneath detection thresholds with terrifying ease. On this particular mission, several B-1s were observed roaring over rocky ridgelines and cutting through canyon passes, banking hard with afterburners screaming, showcasing the very reason why this long-range bomber is still feared and respected globally despite its decades of service. Developed during the Cold War but constantly upgraded, the B-1B was designed for one purpose: penetrate Soviet airspace and deliver nuclear or conventional payloads while moving fast enough and low enough to avoid enemy defenses. The footage captured during this display wasn't just for show. It was a statement capability, a broadcast to adversaries that America's air dominance still soars high and low with unmatched skill. These bombers are powered by 4 General Electric F101G102 turbofan engines, allowing them to hit Mach 1.2 at high altitudes. But even more impressive is their low-level speed and stability, maneuvering in tight groups with minimal separation, requiring split-second coordination from pilots flying machines weighing over 190,000 pounds. Flying in such tight formations at low altitudes is one of the most dangerous and difficult flight profiles in modern aviation, demanding exceptional training, nerves of steel, and aircraft that respond with pinpoint precision. Exactly what the B-1 delivers. Its wings sweep back automatically for a high-speed flight or extend forward for low-speed and high-lift performance, which is essential when hugging the ground to avoid radar detection. During these joint drills, the bombers executed simulated strike runs, opening their bomb bays mid-flight to simulate release over mock targets. Each one of the B-1B's internal bays capable of carrying up to 75,000 pounds of guided bombs, JASSMs, and cruise missiles. Onlookers could barely keep up with the thunderous pass-bys as the aircraft dipped below tree leans and appear out of nowhere, proving why even decades into its service, the B-1 remains a frontline choice for missions that require speed, stealth by altitude, and raw payload power. As the Air Force continues its bomber modernization strategy, with the B-21 Raider set to complement and eventually replace portions of the strategic bomber fleet, the B-1 still holds a vital role, especially in scenarios where flexibility, heavy conventional payload, and shock and awe flyovers are key. Its battlefield relevance remains undisputed, with missions over Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan showcasing its ability to deliver precision airstrikes with incredible reliability. The low-level flight capability seen here isn't just theatrics. It's the operational standard, a critical tactic in evading modern air defense systems like Russia's S-400 or China's HQ-9, which are designed to track and destroy high-altitude intruders. But flying low carries risks. Terrain, weather, and the potential for mechanical failure demand constant focus from every member of the flight crew. Each aircraft is operated by a 4-person crew, 2 pilots and 2 weapons systems officers, all of whom must work seamlessly to navigate, target, and execute under intense conditions. These recent exercises, whether over the deserts of the American Southwest, the icy ridges of Alaska, or during NATO joint drills in Europe, all underscore the strategic value of synchronized low-level bombing runs, which serve as both a training necessity and a geopolitical signal. When America flies low with B-1s, the message is clear. We're ready to reach anywhere, at any time, and hit hard. These bombers also play a vital role in the U.S.'s concept of dynamic force employment, quickly repositioning powerful assets across the globe to confuse and deter adversaries. That agility, paired with the B-1's 7,500-mile range without refueling, makes it a cornerstone of forward deterrence. Even without nuclear capability, removed in compliance with arms reduction treaties, the B-1 could deliver more ordnance than any other U.S. aircraft, and at speeds and altitudes that defy traditional bomber limitations. Seeing several of these giants flying wingtip to wingtip at just hundreds of feet above the ground isn't just a marvel. It's proof of U.S. military air power at its most disciplined and deadly. This flight pattern, sometimes referred to as tactical low-fly, is a key skill that sets elite bomber pilots apart. Honed at places like Dyess Air Force Base and Ellsworth AFB, where B-1 squadrons are trained in real-world scenarios that simulate enemy radar, missile threats, and rough terrain. These recent flight drills have been part of larger missions such as Bomber Task Force Europe, Pacific Air Operations, and Arctic exercises, each tailored to prepare air crews for contested environments. The B-1 survival depends on constant adaptation and its ability to integrate with newer technologies. Linking with drones, intelligence platforms, and satellite command nodes has kept it relevant well into the 21st century. As drone swarms, hypersonic weapons, and electronic warfare become more common, the B-1's role may evolve, but its strength remains in its range, speed, and the ability to fly right under an enemy's nose before they even know it's there. In these recent flyovers, as multiple Lancers thundered past mountainsides and disappeared into deep valleys, the roar of their engines told a story. That the skies, no matter how contested, are still dominated by American resolve. In an age where stealth and high-tech often take the spotlight, the B-1's brute force and terrain-hugging agility prove that sometimes old-school speed and coordination are the ultimate stealth. And when those bomb bays swing open at low altitude, everyone watching, friend or foe, remembers exactly why the U.S. Air Force still rules the skies. As the B-1B Lancer formation continued its low-altitude maneuvering through rugged terrain and tight valleys, the strategic objective became more than just air showmanship. It was a demonstration of synchronized lethality designed to communicate a powerful deterrent message to America's adversaries. The ability of these massive supersonic bombers to maintain visual and electronic formation integrity at altitudes just hundreds of feet above the ground, while traveling at speeds exceeding 500 knots, is a feat of engineering precision and pilot mastery rarely matched in the modern world. These kinds of close proximity, low-altitude flights are typically reserved for combat simulations or high-risk real-world missions where radar detection must be avoided at all costs. Every pilot inside those cockpits knows that a fraction of a second's delay in response could lead to a mid-air collision or catastrophic terrain impact. That's why the crews undergo thousands of hours of training, working in simulators and under live conditions to refine their timing, muscle memory, and situational awareness until it becomes second nature. In operations like this, the B-1 doesn't act alone. It's supported by a vast network of surveillance, electronic warfare, and command and control platforms, all working together to manage battlespace awareness and give the bomber crews every tactical advantage possible. Whether in a training range over the Nevada desert or deep within Allied airspace in Europe or the Pacific, these low-flying B-1B sorties prepare crews to strike swiftly, precisely, and overwhelmingly if the order ever comes. In the post-9/11 era, B-1s were deployed heavily in the Middle East, dropping guided munitions on terrorist hideouts with pinpoint accuracy. But in the modern age of near-peer threats like China and Russia, their mission profile has evolved again. Now they are being called upon to practice evading layered missile defense networks, electronic jamming environments, and GPS-degraded zones where only the best-trained air crews can survive and strike successfully. As they tour across the horizon in tight formation, their radar cross-sections remain low. Their electronic signatures managed by advanced countermeasure pods and low-level routing. The effect is simple but terrifying. By the time an enemy radar picks up a B-1B flying at treetop level, it's already too late. That's part of the brilliance behind these strategic assets. The element of surprise combined with the hammering force of over 24 precision bombs released from a single aircraft, multiplied when several are flying in close proximity and capable of coordinating strikes over dozens of miles simultaneously. Inside each aircraft, the weapon system officers are locked into their consoles, managing weapon release sequences, electronic jamming options, terrain following radar inputs, and coordinating with other assets in the battle group. The pilots, meanwhile, maintain constant visual contact with the terrain and their fellow aircraft, operating under strict formation protocols that ensure mutual protection and unified strike capabilities. The B-1's unique swing wing design plays a critical role here. At low speeds, the wings sweep forward, giving the aircraft greater lift and maneuverability at low altitudes. As it climbs and accelerates, the wings automatically sweep back, optimizing it for high-speed penetration missions. This variable geometry gives it unmatched flexibility in combat scenarios, particularly when flying in contested airspace. This recent training exercise, witnessed from multiple ground vantage points and recorded by high-speed drones and surveillance aircraft, is part of the Air Force's ongoing effort to reinforce readiness against a full-spectrum threat. Not only does it prepare bomber crews, but also tests the ability of the entire support infrastructure, logistics, maintenance, intelligence, refueling assets, and command personnel to function under simulated wartime tempo. During this flight, tanker aircraft like the KC-135 Stratotanker and KC-46 Pegasus were standing by to refuel the bombers in midair if necessary, demonstrating how global strike capability is maintained over long-range missions. Satellite uplinks fed live telemetry back to Mission Command, where analysts monitored everything from flight paths to radar coverage, preparing for future conflict scenarios where milliseconds could define victory or disaster. One of the standout elements of this operation was the B-1's ability to fly below radar, pop up to strike with guided joint direct attack munitions or long-range anti-ship missiles, RASMs, and then disappear back below radar coverage, all while coordinating in near real time with other air, naval, and ground elements. This kind of coordination is what makes modern U.S. air power so dominant. The seamless integration of multiple systems into one overwhelming force. Watching the B-1s execute precision banking maneuvers around rocky escarpments and dart down river valleys in formation shows just how well this machine performs when pushed to its limits. There's also a significant psychological element to these flyovers. When enemy observers or reconnaissance satellites capture footage of multiple B-1s flying in close formation at low altitude, it sends a very clear signal. The United States is not only capable of projecting power anywhere on Earth, it's ready to do so with deadly accuracy and overwhelming volume. As long as the B-1B remains in service, it will continue to fly these kinds of missions, silent, fast, and low, ready to deliver the kind of airstrike that makes history and rewrites maps. In the modern age, where drones and stealth fighters often dominate headlines, the B-1's very loud and very visible presence is both a reassurance to allies and a warning to enemies that there are still few things more terrifying than hearing the unmistakable roar of a B-1 Lancer streaking overhead at near supersonic speed just a few hundred feet off the ground, with its bomb bays full and its crew locked in. This is American air power, flying not high and out of reach, but low and in your face. As the B-1 Lancers maintain their razor-sharp formation just a few hundred feet above the earth, their thunderous engines became the soundtrack of dominance, shaking the ground and sending a clear signal to any adversary monitoring from below. This is what American precision and power look like. The sight of multiple B-1s flying together at such perilous altitudes wasn't just for show. It was strategic posturing, a high-stakes rehearsal of America's ability to coordinate a deadly strike package under hostile conditions where ground-based radar, anti-aircraft systems, and mobile SAM units would scramble to react, but far too late. These bomber runs are part of a larger doctrine known as Agile Combat Employment, ACE, where mobility, speed, and unpredictability are the cornerstones of victory in a future conflict. The crews aboard these bombers train relentlessly to achieve what's called terrain masking, hugging mountain ridges, valleys, and riverbeds to avoid radar detection and minimize exposure to enemy surveillance systems. Every move is calculated. Every foot of altitude or shift in throttle is a decision between survival and exposure. And in today's battle environment, with increasingly advanced surface-to-air missiles capable of engaging targets at extreme distances, staying low is more than tactical. It's life-saving. The terrain following radar on the B-1 is a marvel of Cold War engineering upgraded for 21st century warfare. It allows the aircraft to fly autonomously at low altitudes, adjusting for changes in topography in milliseconds, giving pilots the confidence to push the limits during combat scenarios. Combined with modern GPS and inertial navigation systems, the B-1 can slip through the cracks of the world's most sophisticated air defense networks, strike with precision, and vanish before the enemy even knows what hit them. And unlike the older generation of bombers, the B-1 is built to strike hard and fast. The very design of the Lancer is aerodynamic aggression incarnate. With its swept-wing design at full retraction, the B-1 becomes a high-speed beast capable of dashing at Mach 1.2, carrying 75,000 pounds of ordnance, the largest payload of any U.S. bomber. It can deploy dams, cluster munitions, cruise missiles, and even the new generation of standoff weapons that strike from 500 miles away. But what makes these bombers truly fearsome is their ability to operate in coordinated packs, often referred to as wolf packs, where multiple B-1s strike from different directions simultaneously, overwhelming air defenses through speed, misdirection, and volume. This kind of strategy is particularly vital in regions like the Indo-Pacific, where China has developed layered A2/AD anti-access/area denial systems. Flying low and fast, B-1s can nullify that advantage, enabling the U.S. to hold critical assets at risk, from naval bases to mobile missile launchers. In a hypothetical war scenario, these low-flying beasts would spearhead initial strikes, paving the way for follow-up waves of stealth bombers, fighters, and cruise missile salvos. In Europe, the same tactics are being honed to counter threats from the Russian Kaliningrad exclave and beyond. The global deployment capability of the B-1 means it can take off from South Dakota and strike targets across the globe with aerial refueling. It's this reach, combined with the punch it delivers, that keeps it relevant even in the fifth-gen era of F-35s and B-21s. The USAF has made it clear, until the B-21 Raider is fully operational in numbers, the B-1 remains a backbone of America's long-range strike capability. And so, the crews train hard, very hard. In between sorties, they debrief extensively, reviewing everything from throttle response times to turn angles and weapons integration tests. The margin for error is near zero, because the mission they prepare for, the next peer conflict, won't be forgiving. B-1s often fly alongside reconnaissance aircraft like the RC-135 and Rivet Joint, getting live updates on target changes or environmental threats. Satellite uplinks feed real-time data back to air operations centers, giving commanders the ability to reroute, retarget, or abort as needed. In the sky, it's a ballet of violence. On the ground, it's a symphony of logistics. Fuel crews, ground maintenance, weapons specialists, communications experts, all working around the clock to keep these flying giants mission ready. Watching them fly together at low altitudes reminds the world that brute force and finesse can coexist in one airframe. It's not just about flying fast and low. It's about doing it in perfect formation, in contested airspace, under pressure, with bombs ready to drop. It's about American dominance from sky to ground, and the B-1, even after decades in service, proves every day that it still owns a low sky. These training runs are more than exercises. They are rehearsal for war. And when you see a fleet of B-1B Lancers thunder past just above the treetops, wingtip to wingtip, it's not just awe-inspiring. It's a warning. America still brings a storm. Whether over the deserts of Nevada, the icy expanses of Alaska, or near potential flashpoints in the South China Sea or Eastern Europe, the sight and sound of low-flying B-1s in formation reminds both allies and adversaries that when the United States decides to strike, it doesn't come gently. It comes roaring, low, and lethal. These low-altitude bomber missions are the ultimate show of force, and as the B-1s vanish in the horizon, one message lingers in the air. Don't test American air power, because when these giants fly low and together, destruction follows close behind. Even as new generation platforms like the B-21 Raider begin entering service, the B-1B Lancer continues to evolve, not just surviving, but thriving as a central figure in America's strategic playbook, proving that legacy aircraft, when modernized and massively operated, can outperform expectations in modern conflict theaters. Upgrades in avionics, communications, weapons integration, and engine reliability have made the B-1 more lethal than ever before. In the skies above the Pacific or over NATO exercises across Europe, the B-1 has become a symbol of unstoppable reach, thundering into view just above the treetops, often escorted by F-22 Raptors or F-35 Lightning IIs. It's no coincidence that U.S. allies request B-1 overflights during joint exercises. There's an unmistakable psychological edge when a formation of these sleek beasts slices through the clouds, hugging ridgelines with afterburners lighting the sky. These missions aren't just rehearsals. They're geopolitical messages wrapped in titanium and jet fuel. When B-1s buzz over the Korean Peninsula or show up near the Baltics, it isn't just about presence. It's about readiness, the kind of readiness that terrifies enemies and reassures allies. In the age of drone warfare and cyber sabotage, There's something uniquely powerful about a manned aircraft delivering 75,000 pounds of ordnance, flying so low the shadow touches the battlefield before the bombs fall. This is deterrence by visibility. This is a flying anvil of American power. And in coordinated low-altitude missions, where multiple B-1s operate in close quarters, supported by AWACS tankers and ISR assets, they demonstrate a level of force projection unmatched anywhere on Earth. The pilots and crews who fly these missions are among the best, trained for terrain following, electronic jamming, mid-air refueling, and precision strike, all while navigating complex command and control networks linking satellites, command centers, and warfighters across continents. And when the order comes, the B-1 doesn't hesitate. It launches, it flies, it strikes, and it returns, often unnoticed, but always unforgettable. In a future war scenario, B-1s will play a vital role in penetrating contested zones, delivering the first punch that disables runways, missile systems, and hardened bunkers. From the Arctic Circle to the Persian Gulf, these aircraft are tested, trusted, and terrifying, and their ability to fly in tight formation at dangerously low altitudes, over mountains, deserts, forests, and oceans, puts every adversary on notice. This isn't just a show of skill. It's a war-fighting doctrine, and it works. Because when the B-1 Lancers come in low, synchronized like birds of prey in a coordinated hunt, their presence overwhelms the senses and disables the enemy's decision-making loop. In modern warfare, speed kills, surprise kills, and nothing is more shocking to an enemy radar station than the sudden appearance of a formation of fast-moving bombers, just seconds away from dropping their payload. This is the spearhead of American shock and awe. The B-1, despite its Cold War birth, has adapted to dominate the battlefields of the future. In the skies, its profile is unmistakable. On radar, it disappears. On the battlefield, it ends things. And when it flies low in formation, side by side with its squadron, it reminds the world that no matter how advanced enemy defenses become, there will always be something more terrifying, the unmistakable sound of freedom roaring just above the treetops. This is America's airborne power, alive and untouchable, embodied in the flight of the B-1B Lancer.